being in the NOI, you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
How do you feel the way Muslims are being portrayed right now? Like, for example, Donald Trump recently felt that Muslims in the United States should be tracked. Mosques should be tracked, and so forth. You heard about that?
Nah, I heard something like that.
Trump told Yahoo News that you consider requiring Muslim Americans to register with a government database. Or possibly having them carry special identification cards.
Well, that you mean immigrants or just Muslim period? Is he kind of specifying the Muslim immigrants, like Middle Easterners, or?
Yeah.
Because you gotta specify that, because
I don't think he is. I think he's purposely not specifying.
Oh well, yeah, well, I'll say that about Christians, white Christians. They terrorized us for 460 years. So I mean, we want to get real and do the math. Who's the biggest terrorist?
I mean, some people were comparing it to how Jews had to register in Nazi Germany.
Oh, I mean, I can see the comparison.
Yeah, had to wear patches on their arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you're gonna say that, identify what you are. Are you a Christian? I don't know what Trump beliefs are. If he is agnostic, if you don't believe in God, but let's lay it all on the table and see which one is worse.
I mean, as a Muslim, how do you feel, number one, about the Paris attacks?
I don't believe, well, anybody that know Islam know that's not Islam. Yeah. Islam don't do that. Islam don't, it's against Islam 100% to do any murders or killings or aggressive acts of violence. That's not Islam. You gotta let somebody do you first, like, before you can respond.
Right.
So whatever they doing, I don't know.
But aren't they technically responding based on how they look at it?
They might be.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they might be. But who controls?
Because America has a interesting history.
Yeah, but who controls? Like you said, who controls the information? Like, it's like you playing basketball and Kobe elbow a nigga in the face and shit, and then the ref turn around and you see dude hit Kobe back and he get ejected and Kobe gets to stay. So. It depends on whose frame of reference or who sees what, who's controlling the information. So,
well, there's been a lot of drone strikes and missile strikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how exactly this was connected to the Paris attacks.
Right.
But you could take a step back and say these people who did the attacks may have suffered losses at the hands of the French.
Quite possible.
Or so forth. I'm not justifying things at all.
Me neither.
So as a Muslim, do you feel
that's not
I guess you're not retaliating against the people who did it.
You don't, that's not Islam. So Islam is get the people that did it. You know what I'm saying? It's not random, just whoever, that's not Islam. So injustice can drive you that insane that you don't give a damn no more, that where you'll blow your own self up. I mean, that's reality too.
Yeah.
They don't care. Okay, nobody caring about the laws of engagement, the rules of war engagement against us, so why should we care? So I can see that, but at the same time, you can't discount the possibility that ISIS is funded by America or Israel or whatever, and you find any disgruntled group of poor people, and then you hit them with money and weapons and shit, and that's gonna fuel whoever they mad at. And you give them good enough technology and good enough weapons and some money, oh yeah, they gonna turn all the way up against who they think their enemy is. They can be manipulated through their emotions, just like Bloods and Crips is being done, is doing.
Right, but there's just a difference in the level of violence, because you've never heard of a Blood or a Crip going into a concert and just shooting everyone in the concert.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but not quite to this level though, of literally walking into a concert and just opening fire into a crowd. shooting everyone.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have the details on ISIS and all of that and who did it. I never even seen the story on the news and what it was about. I didn't even know it was a concert or whatever.
Yeah, it was a rock concert.
Yeah, so yeah.
And a couple guys came in and literally
That's the Paris attack?
killed. Yeah, the Paris attack. They killed, I think, like 80 something people in the rock concert.
Okay, well, I could say, well, who did 9/11? Because if we know that the buildings came down with explosives and all of that, and that had to be planned ahead, but then we're gonna pin it on some 19 Muslims again in order to justify invading Iraq and Afghanistan or whatever. Whatever the general from the United States that said America had a plan to take out 7 Middle Eastern Muslim countries in 5 years. Syria was one of them. So America is in cahoots with the European Union. They're in cahoots a little bit with France for things of the same interest. So, they could have false flagged that, or people really died in 9/11, but the people who they say did it didn't really do it. We know it's deeper than that. No, of course not. We know that it's impossible for 19 stupid ass, untrained pilot Arabs to be able to pull that off on the most highly technological, superpower in the last 6,000 years. That's impossible.
You don't think a bunch of guys with knives could take over a plane?
And fly them into the way that they flew them and hit them targets like that? Impossible.
If they had flight training?
Impossible. And jet fuel ain't hot enough to collapse no buildings. And Building 7 fell without even being hit. So what did the Muslims do to make all that happen?
As a Muslim, does it bother you when you keep hearing this Muslim thing over and over again?
Of course. But before I'm a Muslim, I'm black. So I done heard worse and felt worse, for 400 years. So the Muslim thing is just that's a new novelty or whatever. But I know, injustice and evil. We lived under it 4 centuries. So we know the lies. We know it's just like I said, me and my brother, Reg, New Birth Reg, like I said, we used to get abused all the time by white police. You know what I'm saying? But they got the radios, they got the tickets that they can write you. They the ones that's gonna file a police report and said you beat them, you got a case now. Now you got a record. You know what I'm saying? All because they wanted to fuck you up that night. And then if you fight back, you got a case. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do it. That's how they get down here. We've been dealing with that for 460 years. Yeah. So the Muslim thing ain't nothing.
Well, I remember reading Monster Cody's book. Mm-hmm. And he brought up an interesting point. He said that in his neighborhood, he was a Crip, I believe. Mm-hmm. He said that in his neighborhood, if an enemy set rolled up on his block, he said if they were outnumbered 100 to 1, they would sit there and shoot it out and keep fighting. Mm-hmm. But he said one police car will roll up and everyone will scatter.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how true that is with this generation now, but that was true in our generation because we living with that white supremacy fear. Like, we was taught all these Crips and Bloods families is Christians. We all was under Christianity for 400 years. Who we love the most, our mama and our grandmama and all that, all Christians. We love you, baby. God, Jesus love you. And they all got a picture of a white Jesus on their wall. So our Lord is white. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how much devilishment we doing, when the Lord show up, you know what I'm saying? That's why they in power. That's God's family. If the son is white and he's the son of God, then the father must be white. Right. So every time so that's all association.
Right.
So,
even though it was impossible for Jesus to actually be white based on the area that he lived in. The geographical area had no white people. Our
grandparents didn't know that. So if she tell us that's the Lord, that's the truth, that's gospel. I love my mama and my grandmama, and she told me that's the Lord, and we got to obey them no matter what. And when you see them, you see the Father and all that. So you look just like Officer such and such. They kicked me in my nuts. So I got to keep letting you kick me in my nuts.
Wow, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Ice Cube talked about that on his second album. Mm-hmm. I forgot what song it is, but he basically accused the churches of pimping out you know, the black community.
Mosques too. It's the same. It's racism in Islam like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all bad. All religions have been hijacked by white supremacy. So
Do you feel like the churches created a negative effect on the black community?
definitely.
Overall.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if they created it because Christianity was imposed on black people in the black church. So I can't say they created it. They're perpetuating it. They're continuing it.
And in fact, the black preacher was the first black aristocracy.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that the whites showed favor to because they kept the blacks in line.
Exactly.
During slavery time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were the first power group in the black community in America.
Yeah, and the potentially the greatest enemy of the black community because
the black church.
Yeah, the black church.
It was the greatest enemy of the black community.
Yeah, at that time, because you following a script and a curriculum of what the white Christian KKK slave masters, you know, teach you about Jesus and turn the other cheek and all of that. And if somebody steal from you, give them your, you know, this and that. So, and you're doing it in the name of God. And if you don't do it right, you're going to burn in hell forever and damnation and all that. So you just totally mind fucking just scaring the shit out of all the children. And you know what I'm saying? So you grow up, your body grows up, but your mind ain't growing. Your mind is still stuck in that child fairy tale. You know, that's gonna get stronger. Now that belief is gonna get stronger as you get stronger, as you get bigger. So, yeah, if you get a person mentally, you got them. I mean, that's how they got us.
And you still feel that way today?
About what? Christianity?
Yeah, about the black church.
It's the potentially the greatest enemy or the potentially the best friend. Because now that, you know, people is waking up like Pastor Jamal Bryant, it's a lot of revolutionary thinking black Christians that don't necessarily subscribe to that white supremacist interpretation of Jesus and Christianity and all of that. That poison that's coming out of the Vatican. You know, that's where it's coming from. That's the dragon. That Pope, that's the dragon. That's the misrepresentation of
the Pope is evil.
Oh, definitely.
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 And why is that?
Because he misread. Because he knows he's the one that sanctioned and sponsored the transatlantic slave trade and all of the indigenous people being destroyed and raped and pillaged and robbed throughout history. All that was sanctioned by the church. All that Hitler, the Holocaust, and all of that. The Vatican and the Zionists, they funded Hitler. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's I didn't do it. He did it.
So you think even the current Pope is evil?
All the Pope, the seat of Popeism.
Popeism.
Yeah, just like the seat of President of the United States, the seat of capitalism or whatever is designed as wicked, is designed as unjust and unfair.
So you feel that Obama is evil?
Well, he's in a seat of evil. You're forced to do evil or you gonna die. We're gonna do you. You thought this was a real democracy or something? You thought you really had some power when you got in there? Shit.
Well, the people did vote Obama in.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. What did that mean? You know what I'm saying? It's not about who voted you in. It's about who controls what decisions you make behind those closed doors. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with John Perkins' Confessions of Economic Hitman. Man, you need to check that out. That lets you know who's running kings and popes and presidents. I'm not popes, but kings and presidents and rulers and all of that.
Well, money ultimately runs everything.
Well, not really. It's the people that print the money. It's the people that made money, you know, that the monetary system and made us agree with it. It all come down to weaponry. It don't come down to money. It come down to ability to kill people.
Right. Well, I mean, for example, it was estimated that Obama's last campaign cost $1 billion.
Probably. But that's just PR. That's just marketing and promotion to make people, just like, you know, I'm not judging nobody, but just like the homosexual wave, like with enough money, you can be made to accept anything because you promoting it and making it seem cool and you got nice music and the best artists coming behind it and all, you know, you setting a trend.
Leo froze it, man, you know. We can't do it right now.
Right, because this was the Migos Thuggin' project, right?
Yeah, that was gonna be a big project too, but Leo, you know, blocked the play.
Michael K. Williams told me, he was like, if you want to make it in this industry, you have to switch it up, because you just want to be typecast. What, you just playing all gangster movies?